am so excited that we have with us today Dr. Dan Cardellichio. Hey, Dr. Dan, how are you?
Dr. Betsy, how are you today? It's an honor and a privilege to be on your show. Thank you very much for asking me. Looking forward to our conversation.
So February is Heart Health Month. And so I
Mhm.
immediately thought of you, especially with all the things that have been happening in the news with people's hearts, from the football player, collapsing on the field, to Lisa Marie Presley dying. So I was like, oh my God, we really need to be talking about heart health. So yeah, how did
Very
you?
timely, very, very, very timely to discuss this. Damlin was the football player. Lisa Marie was the celebrity, and they both had cardiac events. And oh boy, it's still the number one killer in America for both males and females, by the way.
When should we really start thinking about this in our lives? Because there's some people that go around, they're like, oh, like heart disease, that's for old people, but it's not. So
Listen, Betsy, it's for everybody. You have to start thinking about it. You got to look at your family history. All right. So if you have a family history, you got mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, they're on a statin, they're being told that their cholesterol is high. And then if you delve deeper, that their triglycerides are high, their LDLs are high, their HDLs are low. That is a time to get involved. Even if you don't know what you don't know, you should get tested anyway. So you should get a physical. And part of that is a lipid panel, when the doctor is ordering the blood work. Because Betsy, you know my story. At the age of 37, I had a heart attack. And I didn't want to die. And I realized that I wanted to live. But I felt like a ticking time bomb. And I didn't know what to do and what to once it's over, what do you do? Where do you go? How is this? You're taking medications. Am I going to be on medications, the rest of my life? It's a lifestyle disease. How do I lose weight? I didn't want to die. I know that. I didn't want to die. So you have to look at it as soon as you become aware of this. You get your first job, you have insurance, get your blood tested. Let's go. It's not an old person's disease at all. And I don't say that in any negative way because I'm 61.
yeah, what I was thinking too, and so many people that I've seen over the years with blood pressure issues,
Mhm.
because they don't feel the medicine working, they don't take it, or that's the first medicine they cut out when they're running out of money at the end of the year because they've hit, their insurance, where the insurance isn't covering the medications anymore. Like if you're in Medicare and you're in the donut hole, they're like, yeah, well, I don't feel it working, so I'll just stop taking it.
Well, number one, you never stop taking your medications. I'm not a medical physician. I'm a chiropractic physician with a master's degree in nutrition. But you never stop taking your medication because you can have high blood pressure. You don't feel that at times. You can have insulin resistance. You don't feel that, Betsy, right? You can have you're just living your life. Maybe you're not exercising as much as you should, but you may feel good. But inside your body, Dr. Betsy, biochemically and physiologically, you may not be where you should be. Very important. I'm thinking of a friend of mine, a pro figure athlete, perfection when it comes to health. As a matter of fact, the most prolific figure competitor in the history of figure and competitor, most winning, and she died of a heart attack. She had high blood pressure. So you don't know. Get checked now, today. If you're listening to us, go get checked.
And that brings up such a great point about lifestyle, which is your specialty.
Mhm.
There's so many things that we could do to change our risk factors. Where do we start?
You know what? The first thing is to go get checked. That's the first thing. The second thing is you want to start thinking about changing your lifestyle, and you want to do it in piecemeal. So it could be anything. You know what, Betsy, let's change our diet. We're eating fast foods. We're eating highly processed foods. We're eating foods that aren't good for us. We're gaining weight. Let's change the diet a little bit. Let's have some breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then let's eat healthy. What does that look like? Eating some fruits and vegetables, eating some organic meats, eating fatty fish such as salmon, right? That's a great start, right? Drinking water getting in at least 64 ounces worth of water per day. That is a great start. The second thing is to walk. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, Dr. Betsy. You don't have to run a marathon, right? All you need to do is walk 15 minutes out, 15 minutes back. Go to the doctor. Make sure you're healthy enough to do this. Two great starts. Third one, sleep. Oh my goodness. Sleep. If you can have restful, restorative sleep, okay, and we all struggle with this, right? If you can have restful, restorative sleep, it's very important because you can't out eat a poor sleep habit, right? So you want to get that 7 to 8 hours, 6 hours of restful, restorative sleep. Go invest in this. It's called an Aura Ring. I love it, and I'm looking at my sleep patterns, and I'm getting better sleep because I'm more aware of that. You could start off with those 3, right? And then we can add more in as time goes on.
And those are simple, and those things don't cost anything. I mean, unless you're going to buy an Aura Ring, but like sleep, and eating healthy, and they're not as well. Somebody might argue the whole eating healthy, which actually makes me really mad that like
Yes.
foods are cheaper than healthy foods.
Well, you know what? You have to look at it as, why do you want to do this? You want to live a full life. You don't want to be a ticking time bomb. You want to be there for your children, for your grandchildren. You want to throw the baseball around. You want to go see your granddaughter in ballet, or your grandson in tennis or hockey like mine is, right? And so forth. So there's a lot of upsides. But you know what? Getting a food sensitivity test or getting that food intolerance test and looking at your gut, we can really hone down what you should be eating, what you should be avoiding. Avoiding foods that are causing an inflammatory response, causing a leaky gut, which can lead to a cardiovascular type of an issue, and purchasing foods that are good for you, right? So you may not be spending more when it comes to this. It could be the same, right? You just got to hone it down. That, I hate to say this because it's such a cliche, game changer, but doing those tests, Dr. Betsy, are such a game changer. You know that, right?
Oh yeah. And that's what I was gonna say. What goes into a food sensitivity test, and what is that all about?
A food sensitivity test is a simple blood test, right? And you send it off to a lab, and the one lab that I'm thinking of will test for 205 to 210 different foods. It's not a food allergy test. That's a different test. We're looking at a big word called immunoglobulins, which is a protein, right? So if you have penicillin, you can have that anaphylactic reaction like I do, right? So you can have something like that to shellfish, where your throat closes a little bit. That's an allergy. An inflammatory reaction is a low-grade inflammatory reaction that could build up over years, right? And we're looking at foods that work with your biochemistry and work against. If you're eating foods that are against your biochemistry, that causes the inflammation. That can lead to a disease process somewhere down the line. So we're looking at another big word, immunoglobulin, to help find out what you should be eating and what you should be avoiding.
And once you have a food sensitivity, do you always have a food sensitivity?
No, you could get it done every 7 years. That's a great question. And food sensitivities change as we change, as our body changes, as our biochemistry changes. Listen, Dr. Betsy, we're not 21 years old anymore. So when we were 21, we tested would be different as we would do in our 30s and 40s and 50s, because our metabolism and our body changes, our biochemistry changes. So no, you don't have to have that food sensitivity forever.
That is awesome. And I can't wait to find out more when we come back from the commercial break.
80% of women will develop a pelvic health condition at some point in their lives. There is relief. There is hope. The Pelvic Floor Store, your resource for personal health.
All right, we are back with Dr. Dan, and we are talking all about heart health. So, Dr. Dan, this is so fascinating that the things that we're eating are affecting our heart. And I wanted to ask you about this leaky gut and the microbiome. How is that affecting our heart health?
Oh, there's a direct relationship between gut health and your heart. So let's go back to the food sensitivity test. If you're eating foods you shouldn't be eating, it causes an inflammatory response in your gut. What happens is you get something called intestinal permeability, which is the medical term. Leaky gut is the general term, and your gut literally becomes leaky. It's not like you eat a slice of pizza, Dr. Betsy, and the cheese and the salami or whatever you have on there, the pepperoni goes into your body, but you're not able to break it down, right? As well as you should. Your body's not as efficient. So leaky gut is when those large proteins, inflammation dumped directly into your bloodstream. Now, what's interesting is that you can get cardiovascular issues because of this. You can get type 2 diabetes, and you can get high blood pressure. These are three metabolic conditions that are directly related to this leaky gut. So the microbiome, right? There's different bacteria that are in there. There's good bacteria. There's bad bacteria. This is when the bad bacteria, it's more, right? It's creating that inflammation. The cells, your intestinal lining begins to separate. There's enzymes and proteins that dump into your bloodstream. We can actually test for those enzymes and proteins that are being dumped into your bloodstream so that we know that you have a leaky gut. From there, what we can do is we can make recommendations. We can put you on a metabolic reset where there's different types of nutritional factors working with detoxification. We can put in different types of probiotics to start replenish the good bacteria in the office. It's, again, a game changer where you can help out. Once you heal that gut, you'll find that your cholesterol, your triglycerides, and your LDL, they get into normal. And then from there, you can increase your HDLs, and you get what we call being cardioprotective. So having a leaky gut, okay, is not good, but the good news is that we can handle that and we can take care of that, okay, through nutritional, dietary, and lifestyle factors. Stress. Let me mention stress for just a second. Oh my goodness. Stress can cause a leaky gut. Stress can cause hypertension, high blood pressure. Stress can cause your lipids to go all over the place. Very important to manage your stress, no matter which way you do it. Could be exercise, could be meditating, be taking a quiet time, right, with yourself. Whatever that looks like, you need to manage your stress. To me, it's the silent killer that creates the silent killers, such as high blood pressure.
That is a really amazing point. I'm thinking too, some of the pushback that I've heard from patients when it comes to something like this, especially the older patients. They're like, well, I've been living this way for years, and kind of like the old, can you teach an old dog new tricks? Like, is it really going to make a difference now? And what would you say to them?
Oh, you know what I say, Dr. Betsy? And Dr. Betsy, you've heard me say this before firsthand. And yet you were here with hypertension, high blood pressure, and yet you were here with type 2 diabetes, and yet you were here with your cholesterol and your triglycerides all over the place, and yet you're here being overweight, brain fog, fatigued, not feeling well. Something brought you in. So for all of the listeners today, go get checked out for this, because it's extremely, extremely important at any age. Doesn't have to be young, middle-aged, senior citizens, whatever that looks like, because it's important. But yet you're here, and will it make a difference? Yes. Let's start working together to see if we can bring you back to that health, because you're here and you're here for a reason.
In these cases that happened recently in the news, like I'm kind of thinking more about like the Lisa Marie Presley situation. What do you think was one of her biggest contributors that was causing, that led to her ultimate, unfortunate demise?
That's a great question. Let me tell you something. It was her lifestyle. Everything that she was doing, Dr. Betsy. I mean, eating poorly, drinking, leading that celebrity type of a lifestyle. There's only so much that your body can handle and take before it just totally breaks down, right? We don't know what else was involved. Let's not even speculate, but leading a celebrity lifestyle would bring that forward. Listen, I was leading a celebrity lifestyle when I first got out of chiropractic school, right? And that led me you're serving humankind, you're making money, and you're eating out, smoking cigars. All of this stuff leads to your ultimate demise. And it may be sooner than later. Everybody's different. There's genetics that come into play, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? I always say to patients, the best is yet to come, as long as you can follow and not worry about, leaky gut. What does that mean? Is it going to make a difference? That's why we're here. And yet you're still here.
The question about cholesterol comes up frequently,
Mhm.
and I hear sometimes from people, well, I don't eat anything with cholesterol in it. So why is my cholesterol high? And do we need to be concerned about high cholesterol?
Well, there's a lot of books written, The Myth of Cholesterol. And initially it was cholesterol. Cholesterol has an important function in your body, and it can lead to various disease processes such as cardiovascular disease. As time has gone on, what we know is that that is a component, a smaller component of a bigger picture. Triglycerides are really what we're looking at today. LDLs, low density lipoproteins, is what we're looking at. We're looking at HDLs. We want to make sure we have high HDLs. That's the good cholesterol. The bad cholesterol is the LDLs, triglycerides. Now, when it comes to cholesterol, whether you're eating a diet that's high in cholesterol or not is insignificant, right? Because it's been shown through research only to increase cholesterol or decrease it by small amounts. It's your lifestyle that's creating the situation. So, are eggs good? Eggs, since the 60s, since I've been born, they're good, they're bad, they're good, they're bad. They keep going back and forth, okay? Eggs are good. They have biotin, a B vitamin that you don't find readily available, and they don't increase your cholesterol, okay? Lifestyle does. Leaky gut does. Eating the wrong foods. Dr. Betsy, you could tell me that you're eating the Mediterranean diet. That's great. There may be components of that Mediterranean diet that may be working against you. We want to find out specifically what they are, creating leaky gut, creating a heart type of an issue as time goes on.
I love when people are doing these healthy diets where they kind of have their own interpretation on the healthy diet. And you're like, they're coming in and they're eating like 5 pounds of bacon a day. And they're like, but I'm eating paleo. I'm eating keto. I'm eating Atkins.
Let me tell you, Dr. Betsy, right? Everybody has it. They all go to Dr. Google. Don't go to Dr. Google. We were just learning that at the university where I teach. And, Dr. Google is not so good. Listen, the Atkins diet back in the day was kind of like the first keto type of a thing that became popular again. And some of my buddies were doing it. And, they're eating like a pound of bacon a day. But then all of a sudden, processed, bad for you. Overall, they lost weight, but they still have problems later on. Don't follow, in my opinion, do what works for you. So if you take a little bit from paleo, a little bit from keto, a little bit from Mediterranean, some intermittent fasting, and go to a professional like Dr. Betsy or I to make sure that you're doing it correctly, it's okay. I don't follow a specific type of a diet. I do modified diets. So I follow a modified Mediterranean diet, Dr. Betsy, based upon my biochemistry.
Yeah, and I think those diets too were never created. And I'm not saying those diets are bad, but I'm saying I don't think they were ever created for people to eat like 5 pounds of bacon in a day. Like I think you can't kind of gain the system in eating.
Yeah, you're not gonna, I'm eating the carnivore, then I'm eating vegan, then I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Listen, I made filet mignon last night for dinner for my son and I. It was delicious and nutritious. It was grass fed. It wasn't grain fed, and it worked out, very nicely for us. And then I had some veggies on the side and so forth and so on. It's good to eat the rainbow when it comes to veggies. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm not a vegan. I'm not a carnivore. I like I said, I modify the diet based upon my biochemistry.
That is great. Are there any questions that I haven't asked you that we need to know about heart health?
Listen, I want to emphasize right now to get checked no matter what. All right. We mentioned this, but I want to mention it again. I think it's important to get checked. It's the number one killer in America for both males and females as of today. And with all of the advances in technology, with all of the advances in medications, with all the whatever it's out there, it's still number one. You don't know what you don't know. Please get checked. See somebody like Dr. Betsy or I so that we can do these food sensitivity tests and we can recommend diets. Okay. And we can help you out to a better lifestyle, because on the other side of this, there's energy. Okay. There's a lot of fun. There's clarity. You're productive mentally, physically, emotionally, socially. You're enjoying your life more. I have a 15-year-old. I love going to the gym and working out with him. I love playing baseball and shooting hoops with him. He says to me the other day at the gym, Dr. Betsy, Dad, for the old guy, you can lose some weight. And I looked at him and I said, you ain't seen nothing yet, buddy.
I love that.
So get checked out.
Where can people find out more about you, Dr. Dan?
So very simple. You can go online and you can Google me, Dan Cardellichio, DCMS, or you can give me a call at the office, 973-483-2277. I'm at 554 Bloomfield Avenue in Newark, New Jersey. That is our main office. We do telehealth, so we can see you via telehealth. You can actually even text me on my cell phone. Everybody has my cell phone, 917-608-5896.
Wow, you're pretty brave on that one.
I get text though. I get text. I got a text from somebody that said, I need your help. And I said, who are you? And they said, somebody referred me. I can't remember who. And it's working out very well for them. So I'm happy. It's all good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. Everybody go make sure you find Dr. Dan and follow him. You're also on social media, correct?
You can look at me, Dan Cardellichio, DCMS on Instagram, on Facebook, LinkedIn. You can message me there, and the team will make sure that I get the message, and I'll personally respond to you.
That is awesome. So go check out Dr. Dan. Also, when you're there, go check out WITV7.org. Check out the other programming, and don't forget to hit the donate button, because even $1 can make a difference. We use the money towards scholarships, community events, and to support great programming like this today. And don't forget also to tune in again next week for another episode of Body, Mind, Spirit.